Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today's video is going to be how is Warlock currently in Midnight Alpha? Is it fun? Should you play Warlock? Or should you look at playing Warlock, I guess, if you're considering the class in Midnight so far? We're going to look at every spec. Affliction, Demonology, Destruction. There'll be timestamps down below for all of them. I'll give you my thoughts on them, a little bit of combat, some talent breakdowns, and just talk about if I think the class is worth playing it, if it looks to be fun in its early initial form in Midnight Alpha. Also want to mention that we are less than 4,000 subs at this point. I think it's like 3,700, something like that, away from 100,000 subs on the channel on YouTube, which is utterly insane. If you guys aren't subbed, I think about half y'all are subbed and half y'all aren't. Love y'all regardless, but if you would consider subbing, it would mean the actual world to me. All right, so now, when it comes to all three lock specs here, if you are a fan of old Affliction, like Legion-based Affliction with Unstable Affliction as your soul shard spender, congratulations, that is back. Some of the changes to highlight here, one of the bigger issues with Affliction in the first few weeks of Alpha and feedback points and such was that Unstable Affliction was limited to 5 stacks in single target, or on one target. You can spread UAs to multiple targets at this point at will. You can have more than one active. I mean, it was just limited to 5 max on one target. You could have 5 here, 3 here, 3 here, and it's fine, but you couldn't have 6 here, 3 here, and 3 here. Only 5 max. If you cast a 6th on a target that had 5, well, you would basically lose that one. Now, if you notice right there, UA just reapplied itself on this dummy right here, which is interesting. There's a lot of talents that were implemented this build or this alpha that build around Unstable Affliction being for free, being cast at instant cast speed, reapplying itself, giving you shards back, things that benefit, or things that just revolve around Unstable Affliction having, multiple applications rolling and free resources, so on and so forth. Whether it's through like Soul Harvester talents giving you more shards, through casting Dark Harvest, which, through here generates more shards, or just things like Soul Miser. Casting UA on a target without UA on it gives you a 1 in 4 chance to refund a soul shard. Old Soul Conduit. Things like Fatal Echoes, which you just saw right here, UA reapplied itself for free. Things like Shared Instability, giving you a free Unstable Affliction, cost no soul shards, and can cast instantly. A lot of effects built around that, which made it so that max limit 5 on one target wasn't really where it needed to change in some way. A good suggestion was maybe Devouring Plague, something along those lines that gives you, a stacking damage effect past 5 stacks, whatever. This build, Blizzard changed Unstable Affliction to no longer be limited to 5 stacks max. Now, it is bugged currently, where if I cast an Unstable Affliction, cast one again here, I don't know if I had shards I'd be able to, but either way, I digress. If I cast an Unstable Affliction on top of another UA, basically, it would, if it's functioning properly, likely show a stat count in the corner, similar to Agony right here, for example, right? Like if I cast Unstable Affliction, and then cast another, there actually is no stat count. It just refreshes the duration. It's not adding damage from the second UA on top of the first right now. So we're assuming it's bugged, but that is a way to fix all the free effects, refunding shards, so on and so forth, giving you multiple UAs if you're in like a patchwork setting, a single target setting. Dark Glare baseline will extend your dots, as you can see here, by 8 seconds. Dark Glare paired with Dark Harvest will also extend them for even longer. So baseline Unstable Affliction's duration is 8 seconds. If you add on Dark Glare, it's 16. And if you add on Dark Harvest channeling down as well, it's somewhere around like 20, 21, 22. Could even be higher. Yeah, you can see it extending right there. So probably even higher than that, actually, looking at it, 23, 24. But if you were in your opener dumping multiple Unstable Afflictions, like dumping 5 into a target, and you hit Dark Glare and Dark Harvest, you have 5 UAs rolling for probably around 20-ish seconds. So all those free procs or free reapplications or instant cast procs you're getting through things like Soul Miser or Shared Instability or Fatal Echoes, we're going to go to waste in a sense. Right now, not the case anymore. So very good to see there. As far as like Affliction in combat, honestly, if you're looking at playing it, or if you've played Legion AF in the past and things, it does play pretty similar. Agony, Corruption, keep your haunts up. You cast multiple Unstable Afflictions. My Drain Soul's glowing here, so you can see this is going to be a Malefic Grasp based Drain Soul. I cast 5 UAs and then Dark Glare, it's bug, whatever. Malefic Grasp. Target, Malefic Grasp right there. It changes your either Drain Soul or your Shadow Bolt into Malefic Grasp. Now, I will say, as far as like Malefic Grasp is concerned, I'm not a huge fan of it just changing or empowering my Drain Soul or my Shadow Bolt. Drain Soul feels fine when it happens because it's a channeled effect. a Malefic Grasp, right? At the same, but when I'm playing Shadow Bolt, for example, and I'm just casting filler spells, I'm sitting here spamming Shadow Bolt. I'm basically spamming it to, like, you know, cast filler spells. If a Malefic Grasp procs at that point and I don't notice it, I'm just spamming Shadow Bolts over and over. There's a pretty high chance that I'm going to just spam right like this, interrupt my Malefic Grasp about halfway through, which is a bit awkward. There have been macros for Shadow Priest around that do help with that and make it so you don't cancel drains. I don't know if that even works anymore with the add-on thing. I'm not really sure. But wouldn't mind seeing Malefic Grasp become a different button. Maybe like just a keybind or a button you can have somewhere. But either way, that is that. Now, if you're looking at how many buttons did Affliction actually lose heading into midnight, right? There's not a crazy amount, honestly. So when it comes to like the keybinds of my bars here, right? Basically, there's a lot of empty spaces here. It basically looks like this. However, if I take, let's say, for example, Ritual Summoning and fill in the slots that have abilities on them on a retail that I don't have an alpha, like Stone Form or Gateway Control Shard or Potions, basically, which are all right here. Stone Form, Potion, Gateway right here, basically. I'm missing essentially 3 buttons. Malefic Rapture, which is gone. Unstable Affliction is here, but it's still there in retail regardless. It's just not your spender. So you've lost Rapture, you've lost Singularity, and Soul Rot. But you have Dark Harvest here as well. So one of these empty spots is actually a keybind that I have on retail for macros and things. So I've essentially lost, like, the class pruning about 2 or 3 buttons. But if you're looking at what AF has in its baseline profile or rotation, it's still Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction, Haunt, Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt is like a filler spell, and you have Dark Harvest being a minute cooldown, and Dark Glare being 2. So you have 6 to 7 buttons you're going to be hitting every so often. 5 of them being more prominent in Agony, Corruption, UA, Haunt, and Shadow Bolt. But if you count Malefic Grasp, that can be 8. If you count things like Seed of Corruption and AoE, that can be 9, so on and so forth. Affliction feels, I'd say in its current form, fine. Feels solid. Feels good. I wouldn't mind, once again, Malefic Grasp being separated from Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt, because at times it's going to be hard to catch that, but visually, looks really cool. And it's sort of like the Oblivion that I wanted, or sort of like the version of Oblivion, the talent we have currently on retail, that I wanted, being Malefic Grasp, causing your dots to do damage, flaring up, all of that. Now, building upon all this, I want to show you the Apex talent here, which is going to be Shadow of Nathriza. It summons a literal Dreadlord whenever your Haunt's active. Haunt's empowered by a lot of abilities in general, whether it's through Soul Harvester or just buffs in the first place. It does a lot of damage, good prior damage as well. When it's active, it has a chance to spawn a Desperate Demonic Soul. It's a Dreadlord. I don't know, they don't call it a Dreadlord. It's a Dreadlord. It's really sick. It does Fell Claws, which is like a single target ability, and casts a Carrion Swarm, hitting mobs, basically, around, well, the Dreadlord. Now, I'm going to shift a bit more to a AoE-esque build here to show you guys Seed of Corruption and stuff, because if you like Seed with So is back for like the 3rd time, which also is very cool. I do want to mention that I think this ability here, Cloying Power, should likely be in a more central location. I wouldn't mind seeing Cloying Power somewhere, I mean, honestly, swapping it with like Ravenous Afflictions, or I think putting it here. I think you could swap these two and likely be fine. And the reason behind that is because Cloying Power has a lot of relevancy when it comes to like AoE and M+. Council based settings for sure, but like AoE and those kind of settings too, right? Where you want to spread a handful of UAs to get a damage increase. It's very similar to Cold of the Week, which is over here. But on retail, it's different. When you, I think it's like more targets have dots, more damage your Rapture does, right? Basically, it's a different version of that over here, but it's locked behind like single target talents, like shared instability. Like, I mean, it's like maybe you play it in plus, but it's locked behind Fatal Echoes, and it's below it's like Cascading Calamity or Soul Miser, which are more or less like single target or single target esque abilities. I'm going to want this ability likely in plus, more than, I mean, Affliction is good too, don't get me wrong. But I feel like having this more central base, it is like universally relevant, and being able to get it is coming out of Dark Glare into Visionary into like Cloying Power over here, putting Afflictions here, probably be more than fine. It'll probably fit a bit better too. But there's a handful of pathing things we can hit on as well, but it's more feedback video based. So let's say you're looking at doing like an AoE build here. If you played with Seed of Corruption or so the seeds before, that's back. We're gonna forego the Cloying Power esque part of this and just look at what it looks like in AoE. So let's say we're heading in here. Vile Taint is now gone. We have a talent called Shared Agony. So whenever I cast Agony on a mob, it spreads to a second mob. It's not smart currently. These nameplates are wild. It's not smart currently, meaning it won't refresh on the lowest duration Agony mob I'm in combat with. Hopefully that logic's implemented at some point. But regardless, It's pretty cool. So let's say we're heading into a pack here. Throw a seed. Throw some agonies out. Seed 2. Go here. There's 4. There's enough agony spread there. It's pretty cool. Cast a haunt, whatever. Maybe throw a UA or 2. If you are playing Cloying Power, sure, why not? You would. I know from Dark Harvest, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Cast Seed. Cast Dark Lair, and there's your Shadow of Nathriza, your Dread Lord. Yeah, there he is. You would also cast Dark Harvest here, but I fat fingered it because they changed the way it works. That's fine, not a big deal. It used to basically be an ability you cast, and then it would channel down. But that was changed in the most recent PTR build, or Alpha build, so a little better. Now, if I refresh here, you'll see once again agony spreads to 2 mobs here. If I go here, it'll spread to 2 more, being here and here. I'm gonna let these tick down a little bit here to show you what happens when I try to refresh on low duration agony targets. So let's say it says 7 and 6. If I refresh, watch the durations of all 4 of these. Refresh, it refreshed there. It actually hopped there. Refresh again, it hopped over there. If I refresh here, now it refreshes and it hops there and it hops there. But if I refresh now, it should theoretically refresh on this being the lowest duration. It does. Do it again. It should refresh here. It doesn't. It refreshed that one. And then this, something else. This is falling. It shouldn't be falling. This mob might seem like it's way over here in New Serbia. It's actually right here. These are just nameplates we're playing with. I don't know what to tell you. So there's not logic implemented behind this yet, but I do like the shared agony playstyle. Having Vitalate around, I mean, I'm very happy Vitalate's gone. I wish there was some way to extend agonies for like Seed of Corruption casting as well. Maybe it's like a lesser amount. Maybe like you just end up, you know, whenever a seed explodes, it extends like 0.5 seconds. That'd be cool. But either way, there's that. Here's what Dark Harvest looks like. Dark Harvest channels down, does much damage, extends the duration of all active dots on a minute cooldown, which is also very cool. Very similar to Soul Rot with the 3 Rapture charges you got currently on retail. Pretty cool. If you combine this with Dark Lair, you get a very, very long duration on all your active dots. We are playing Siphon Life here. Siphon Life's probably the play in M+. Probably ever. Well, in M+, I would say, because you're spamming Seed a bunch again. But if you're a fan of Seed, with So, everything being back, hey, it's sick. Also, I forgot to put a point in Eternal Yield, but this gives you 1,000,000 free Seed of Corruptions. Let me just hop out of combat real fast here and show you guys, actually, if I can do it. Might be tough. Might be tough. We're going to give it a shot. Let me leave combat, please. Please. We don't need Visionary where we're going. It's fine. We don't need Visionary where we're going. I will say one thing when it comes to these instant cast Nocturnal Yield procs with Seed. It already procced once. When you cast a Seed of Corruption, when you're hard casting a Seed of Corruption and it procs mid-cast, it'll basically just cast like 2 seeds, but it won't throw 3 seeds if you're in combat with less than 6 mobs. It'll basically check what mobs it's thrown the hard cast seed at, like, which is throwing 3 seeds to the hard cast. And then whichever ones didn't have a seed thrown at them, it'll throw the instant cast ones at that. So like for example, I'm in combat with like 5 mobs here, right? So let's do this. Let's open up on Seed, put some agonies out. Might get a proc. If we do, I'll point it out. No big deal. Put out a Haunt here. Put out a UA as a free proc. So there's free Seed. Now Hardcast Seed. Hardcast Seed. Hardcast Seed. Look, yep, okay. Well, that sort of worked out, but it procced late. But the point being, Hardcast Seed. Hardcast Seed. Seed. I mean, regardless of getting procs or not, like you're just swimming in literal shards here. Like Hardcast Seed. Yeah, see how I threw four seeds there? So what that was, there wasn't 1 Seed of Corruption being cast. That was basically 2. It was the hard cast one and then the proc one, which theoretically it should throw 6 seeds, but it visually showed 4. It's hard to check and see if it actually is throwing 6 seeds. I probably need to log it, but from what I've heard, it's not actually doing that. So if that ends up being the case, probably need to bake some logic in there too to have it be like, all right, well, somehow throw 6. I know that we're casting, a hard cast one on 3 targets, but have it double cast 2 seeds somewhere, or have it pop. Not really sure. It does feel a little weird. It's almost like you want to wait and see if you get a proc when you're casting it, or if you see a proc go out like mid seed cast, you want to be like, all right, cast seed, okay, then instant cast seed now. Like you have to like delay and stagger things. A little funky. In the end, you're still blasting seeds regardless, so it's pretty cool. But yeah. A little bit to point out there. But if you're a fan of Affliction, Warlock, TLDR, Soul Harvester, and Hellcaller are both really cool. So Hellcaller gives you a minute button of Malevolence, which just gives you haste. Withers flare up, do a lot of damage. If you're a fan of UA-AF, I really do feel this version of Affliction, UA Spender AF, is solid. Could things change a little bit? Yes, some things have changed, some pathing stuff, but overall, for an early iteration, I'm definitely a huge fan. I would say yes. If you're looking at playing AF, lock. Keep looking, it's good. Alrighty, now if you are a fan of Destruction Warlock heading into Midnight, basically it hasn't really changed a whole lot as far as like the core rotation is concerned. If you played Destro Lock in the past 10 years, you've played Midnight Destro. Now it's not a bad thing. They have changed some talents that make Destro a bit more in-depth and interesting. We have the new version of Shadowburn, for example, in this build here, which we'll get to in a minute, but the more important things here, conflict rate, as long as you pass through improved conflict rate, is essentially 3 charges permanently. You can see 3 right here. They broke up Roaring Blaze. They put Roaring Blaze over here and just separated it with the choice node from conflict rate over here. Roaring Blaze now basically spreads immolates or withers. So when you're in AoE, you're just casting conflict rates passively. When you cat out a pack or whatever, it's just gonna keep spreading them, or refreshing them. Basically, if you're in single target as Destruction and you go like this, start a fight, whether it's wither or immolate like this, it's active. It's never gonna fall. You cast it basically one time. If you're casting a Soulfire, it's gonna precast it and it will just apply itself, and that'll be that. Never falls. I'm not editing that out. Conflict rate can refresh it for the whole duration of the fight, and it, if you're in AoE, it'll like refresh it and spread to multiple surrounding mobs too. So for example, if I'm over here, put this out, I conflict rate, watch it spread, bang bang, spread there. Conflict rate again, all 5 are covered. Pretty cool. So for the most part, it'll maintain withers pretty easily. If you're in like mass AoE and going into like a kata, and well, a kata like this, like 10 mobs down, you might lose wither on some of them. Just sort of how it is. We'll get to that in a little bit because CDF has been changed, but I think overall pretty cool change. Besides that, some points have been made. 2-point talents, Ashen Remains, Backlash, all that kind of stuff. Some have been added, given extra stats. Some like to for 2-point relevancy. Some haven't been. I guess the biggest trait here so far, well, okay, they've made Havoc space and duration 15 seconds, and they've made improved Havoc give it a 5-second increase to 20. So if you're taking improved Havoc and as a cleave-based fight, or even like M+, you're playing this, which might be a play, your Havoc lasts 20 seconds. The cooldown's 30. This gives you just these massive 20-second windows of insane cleavage Destro. Super cool. It makes Destro feel like it's the king of Destro, of cleave again. Havoc cleave. It'll depend on tuning, but with Bolt hitting as hard as it does and Havoc being 20 seconds with a half-minute cooldown, might be back. There's no duration extension to Mayhem here currently. Could be bugged. Hope it is bugged. It should make Mayhem longer, maybe like 8 seconds instead of 5, but all it does is add in the baseline additional 10% damage to Mayhem. No extra increase there. We'll see where that goes. Moving on from there, so you have Lake of Fire. So Cataclysm just leaves behind a Lake of Fire. I hope visually it gets updated. It's sort of like the Cataclysm visual, but it just stays there. Like this is the lake right here. It'd be so cool if they took like DK's Defile and made like a big red bubbling pool of lava. That'd be so sick. Think Defile, but like red. Like just that'd be so cool. It's sort of hard to see like that cracked earth effect. It seems like it's a little dated maybe, but it's hard to see when the whole world's blowing up in a M+ meat grinder of abilities, right? Compared to like a Defile. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. At the same time, it is a ground-placed effect that's tied to your kata on a half-minute cooldown, but Lake of Fire does damage. It's even good in single target. It does a lot of damage, so it's a ground-placed effect, yes, but tell your tanks, maybe they'll pay attention, because it's actually pretty relevant. They've changed Shadowburn to only be usable on targets below 20% health. No cooldown. 1 soul shard cost still. Same thing if it dies, you get a shard back, whatever. Blistering attributes the same, basically. And they've changed Fiendish Cruelty. Crit strikes dealt by Chaos Bolt, Conflict Rate, or Incinerate have a 10% chance to make your next cast of Shadowburn within half a minute, cost no soul shards, and be usable on any target, regardless of health. That's a mouthful. Now, the proc chance on this, I mean, it says it's 10%. I don't think it really is. I think it's probably lower than that. I probably had a bad RNG, but wouldn't mind it being a higher chance. But at the same time, if you make it like 20, it's just too high. I think we can buff Shadowburn's damage a decent bit, maybe like on targets above X amount of health. It's 2.4k damage. Chaos Bolt's 10k, and Soulfire is 17k. It seems like it's very, very undertuned damage-wise. Now, obviously, it can crit and do more than that, but I mean, like, either way, I mean, like, still, yeah. So I don't know. I like the playstyle of it. It feels like how Soulfire used to, where it lights up, you hit it, pretty cool. You got a free proc damage. It's very sick, but might be a little undertuned at this point. Building upon basically like the Lake of Fire stuff, though, you've got Rapidity, which makes Brain of Fire tick more often. It's not reducing the duration of Brain of Fire in combat. It's just making it tick more often. So it like instead of it hitting 10 times over the duration, which is 6.8 seconds, for me, it'll hit 12 times, or whatever the math is, right? Over the same duration, being 6.8 seconds. So pretty cool. There's that. There's also Elithis' Ire, which gives you a 1 in 5 chance to reduce the cost of Rain of Fire. Basically, a free Rain of Fire within 8 seconds. This and this sort of scare me. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but there's always that weird lingering world of Rain of Fire and single target. I don't know if it's a thing. It probably isn't a thing for Daedalus anymore, but maybe Hellcaller. I don't know. But it scares me mostly because this reminds me a lot of like old Inferno stuff. But like a lot of free Rain of Fire refunds, all that, with how demons function, with how this. I mean, it scares me in a cool way. We'll see where it goes. Honestly, like. It's pretty sick. We can actually play it right now. We'll hop over here and look at this. As far as like the other capstones here, so they've moved Channel Demon Fire and Demon Fire Mastery down here. CDF does not extend Withers anymore in AoEs. This talent is just dead. Unless they make it like hit incredibly hard, make it castable while you're moving. It doesn't really do anything. I want that utility. Like a Demon Fire Mastery said, it does this and extends durations of Withers or Immolates like it does currently on retail. Combine the talent and the DFI. Or DFM, that'd be great. But in this current form, probably never gonna be played. It's undertuned and just not good. And you really played it a lot for just the actual like Wither Immolate extension. I know that we have Roaring Blaze now, but that's like whatever. You played it for that basically. If you're catting 15 mobs, this is not gonna maintain Wither on 15 mobs. It's not gonna do it. To be honest with you. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Maybe they add it back, maybe not. But in this current form, probably just dead capstones. We'll see what happens. To a similar extent, over here you have Rift and Soulfire. Soulfire hits hard. 3-second cast time. I think it's 2.5 with the backdraft stacks. You can conflagrate into it. It does a lot of damage. It is still a hard cast, though. They've removed Decimation. It is just a hard cast now. However, when you cast it, it still generates a shard, applies Wither or Immolate, and does a lot of damage. 45-second cooldown. Rifts have 3 charges. Same thing. 45-second cooldown. Whenever you hit a rift, then it is a Chaos Tear, which is one of the 3, totally random. Summons an Overlord. Same time, whenever you Soulfire, summons an Overlord. Ritual of Ruin and all that's gone. Overlord's over here. I like Ritual a lot more. I think it's sort of convoluted. I get what they're going for, and it's cool. I think it's a bit messy. There's no smart logic behind Chaos Tear, Unstable Tear, Shadowy Tear. There's been times I've opened 2 Chaos Tears when I just spam 3 rifts back to back and have 2 Doom Guards out. Or Overlords. There's times I've hit 3 in a row and gotten none. There's times I've gone like 0 for 7 on this and gotten, there's a stacking chance, I believe, to get it. Like probably an increased chance, I'd assume, but yeah. So you either have a plant and cast spell or RNG, which feels sort of but the Apex talent is Embers Nilum. Basically, casting Incinerate has a chance to like fire Sargeras Death Beams. Super cool. AoEs and all that stuff. At the same time, this effect here is very high uptime. I don't mention that very much. Let that sort of fly under the radar for now. And this thing here's the capstone. Chaos Bolt and Rain of Fire also give you a chance to summon these beams in. So we'll play the Rain of Fire build here. If you've seen Destro on single target, you've seen it here. Same thing basically. We'll look at it in AoE. So let's say we're heading into a pack. Keep in mind, Conflagrate refreshes Withers and Immolates now. So these nameplates are sort of funky. These 5 are over here. I can't really change this now. Pray to God's fixed next build, but we're hitting 5 targets. So we're gonna Kata. Cast my Infernal, hit Malevolence, go Rain of Fire. See those beams coming in? Those are the Sargeras Death Beams, right? Rain of Fire, Conflagrate, Rain of Fire, I'm lagging a bit. All these beams coming in, that swirling one, that's that Sargeras Death Beam. Rain of Fire, free Rain of Fire, Incinerate, Conflagrate, Rain of Fire, Incinerate, Rain of Fire. Now I am conflagrating on this mob, basically on cooldown here, but you can see these Withers aren't really being maintained that well. There's not a whole lot of like smart, like, it's the same logic as like the Agony spreading ability, right? Where it doesn't look at or prioritize the lowest duration Wither when it's active. It just says, hey, spread to a random mob, or more so refresh on a random mob. If I conflagrate from time to time, it'll just refresh literally on the same 2 mobs over and over and over, and I get like no extension, which feels pretty bad. But regardless, hopefully logic is built in soon. But either way, this is pretty sick. There's literal death beams firing from the left and right. You're just basically spamming Rain of Fire. And once they build in logic for this, like look at these 2 refreshing over and over, right? These are all going to fall. These 2 have been refreshed 10 times, literally over and over. Once it's built in, it's going to feel a lot better. And this is only 5 targets too. You factor in 8, 9, 10, 12 targets that Destro's good at, it might melt the world. Like a Fire is pretty cool. I would like to see a duration extension from Improved Havoc put into Mayhem. It doesn't need to be the full 5 because it's RNG, high rolls, low rolls. It'd be like a 3-second increase from like 5 to 8 whenever it procs, because currently it's still just only getting the damage value, not the extension clause. But honestly, it feels like Destro in AoE, but more exciting. You have Death Beams firing it. If you play Destro in single target, I mean, I can even show you right now with AoE abilities. It's Wither, Bolts, Conflagrate, Bolts, you know, Incinerates, Demons are spawning in. The only real difference is you're not getting Soulfire Decimation procs anymore. You have to hardcast your Soulfires or your Rifts every 45 seconds. Charge base versus cooldown base. It will spawn in an Overlord. AoE feels great for Destro. Single target, wouldn't mind a couple of changes here and there. We'll see where it goes. But if it goes live where it's at in single target, if you've played Destro in the last 10 years, you know how to play Destro in single target. And we have Demonology. Demonology is a weird one because they've made a lot of really cool changes to Demonology, I think, thematically. But I feel like the rotation when it comes to single target, and maybe a little bit of AoE, more single target is just sort of empty. Yeah, maybe not empty, but could be more involved. So similar to Affliction, if I take like these Ritual of Summonings and fill in the spots on my bars here that I'm missing abilities from, of like relevance, these are abilities I have in retail that are, you know, other things, right? If I were to do this, basically, I'm missing 3 buttons in a sense. I'm missing, it's gone too. I'm missing Biofiend's cast, I'm missing Grimoire's cast, I'm missing Demonic Strength's cast. This button right here is typically a macro. Those 3 abilities are essentially gone, but Biofiend's still here. So they've made a change to Biofiend. Whenever you cast Call Dreadstalkers, it summons your Biofiend in combat for 15 seconds. I like this change. I think it's actually really cool. Biofiend was sort of a clunky cooldown. Didn't love casting it in Tyrant setups or in between with the weird cooldown timings, all that. I actually like this a lot. This is very cool. Whenever you Tyrant and stuff, you can have 2 Biofiends out also for a decent bit, because dogs are 20-second cooldown. Biofiend lasts 15, but if it's extended by Tyrant, it's going to last a bit longer. You'll have 2 Biofiends out, 4 dogs. Super cool. A lot of baseline things still here for Demonology. Grimoire Felguard's gone though. This is not Grimoire. This is baseline Felguard. They want it in the spec tree to indicate to newer players who said that this is the pet you want to play. I get that logic. I don't think it's necessarily great to have it in the spec tree, but I get what they're saying. I don't love it. I don't think it's necessarily right, but I understand what they're doing. Things like Fell Armaments. I mean, a lot of these abilities just buff damage of things. There's a lot of passive buffs, and passive. A lot of the trees like that, right? They've added in Doomguard Bracers. Axe Toss removes a harmful magical effect from you. Very, very niche. I don't think it's really played anywhere, but it's really odd. Wouldn't mind seeing it change for different ability. Maybe we have it enhance Axe Toss somehow, although it's just be a baseline Axe Toss enhancement, or just change Axe Toss baseline to make it a kick, right? But either way, on top of that, you have things like Improved Implosion, which gives you a 5% increase to Implosion for each wild imp you've imploded. You've got Imp Gang Boss. Whenever you cast a Handed Gul'dan, every Handed Gul'dan summons 1 Imp Gang Boss, basically. Now, there are some changes to Demonology when it comes to Midnight. You have a max of 9 imps. 9 imps and you're done. You can't summon any more until they expire. It's baseline 0, like with no talents, but you get 3 from here. Talents give you the ability to summon more imps, basically. So Handed Gul'dan, being your first talent, gives you an increased chance or limit to 3. Down here, Imp Mastery gives you 6, 3 more, and then Hellbent Commander gives you 9. So you can have a max of 9. There's an ability over here called Ancient Imps, which gives you 3 ancient ones. These don't count towards that 9, so you can have 9 and 3 out. It's whatever. If you play it, you play it. If you don't, you don't. But either way, that is where Demonology is at currently. Now, on top of that, whenever you are at a max number of imps, your Hand of Gul'dan becomes Eye of Gul'dan. So we're going to combat here and show you this. I can show you the actual Dreadstalkers here too. Now, this is going to last forever. There's an Imp Gang boss, because, you know, we're playing the talent, so 1 of 3 is always going to be an Imp Gang boss. Hand of Gul'dan. I'm at 2 shards here. I cannot Hand of Gul'dan at 2 shards. It has to be 3. 2 and 1 shard hands are gone. So build the Shadow Bolt. Hand of Gul'dan. Watch, it's now empowered into Eye of Gul'dan. So we can build a 3 here. Similar extent. Eye of Gul'dan has to be 3 shards. There it is, and there's my little zap beam, right? Now I'll cast Dogs. There they go. Biofiend spawning in here too. Charhound, pretty cool. That's basically it. Once you hit 9 imps, you're just a Shadow Bolt, I have Gul'dan Bolt, I have Gul'dan Beam sort of simulator when it comes to like single target. And you're going to do this for a very long time. Now, a set that did, I think, expire there. It's going to expire pretty soon. I think one might have expired. I can't really tell. No, I have 6 out, but it's bugged apparently. I don't know why my eye isn't changing back, but there we go. It's back now. Now, it gets a bit more interesting when you're tyranting and things, right? So let's just set up a tyrant. We'll go 3. I'm going to lose a core here, but it's fine. 6. 6M, so we'll build to 9, and we'll tyrant. So now the thing is, when I tyrant here, watch how long I'm just going to sit here and cast Shadow Bolt into Eye of Gul'dan. Shadow Bolt, Shadow Bolt, Shadow Bolt. Cast dogs, they're free. Eye of Gul'dan. Shadow Bolt, Shadow Bolt. I mean, I'm not going to say it every time, but these imps last 55 seconds. There's no energy on them anymore. They're just literally here, and they last 40 seconds in combat. Plus, Tyrant extends by 15. So you're going to sit here and just cast 3 Shadow Bolts. Some Demon Bolts, I'm sure, too. I'm just casting Bolts for an example here. Some Demon Bolts and Shadow Bolts, and just 3 Shard Eye of Gul'dans. Literally until they all expire, which is going to be, I don't know, in 20-ish seconds here. You're going to summon 3 more, and guess what? Tyrant's a minute cooldown, so you're going to just Tyrant again, and they're going to be out for 55 seconds again. So basically all I'm casting are Shadow Bolt / Demon Bolts, Hand of Gul'dan, or basically Eye of Gul'dan. They expire, to hear some more hands, cast dogs again. There's 3, there's 6, there's 9. There's Tyrant, he's back, and once again we're back into that minute loop of Shadow Bolts into Eye of Gul'dan with dogs every 20. And that's basically it. So Grimoire Felguard is gone, Demonic Tranc's gone, and Vile Fiend cast is gone. I like not having to cast Vile Fiend. That feels good. I like it being tied to the dogs a lot. That's a great change. I like that a lot. I just really wish there was something else I could really do here. There are things that empower my Eye of Gul'dan. You can get a random red eyeball that spawns in that's a dot, but it doesn't really do anything. I think having this talent, maybe just say instead your Eye of Gul'dan cleaves. Like it does like a big AoE zap. Like when I cast this with a different talent in the tree, maybe it's a different talent entirely, somewhere over here more AoE based. That Eye of Gul'dan just zaps like 5 targets. That'd be really cool, and then have like AoE relevancy. But I'd still be in a weird spot in a single target where I'm like, oh, I'm just casting Shadow Bolts and Demon Bolts and Eye of Gul'dan. So that's all I'm casting. Like my imps are expiring. All right, we're gonna cast some of this here. Like, sure, we're gonna cast 3 hands. There's 3. There's 6. Here's 9. I gotta wait for my dogs to come up, but we're gonna Tyrant again and be in that loop of 55 seconds of literally just Shadow Bolts. And it's like, well, there's dogs, and we're back in that loop again, right? So there you go. I think we need to build upon Eye of Gul'dan more. I don't mind the ability of empowering Hand of Gul'dan. I think it's cool. But I think Eye of Gul'dan itself should do more. Maybe AoE, have the option to get talent to AoE's Eye of Gul'dan's. I also wouldn't mind the other button to hit. I know they've pruned a lot of specs and abilities back, but I wouldn't mind. I'd love like a Thalkiel's Consumption-esque ability. Maybe something like that I siphon the energy out of my pets and blast my target or blast targets that I'm in combat with for X amount of damage, right? Thalkiel's Consumption, something like that. You know, call it whatever. Change the name, obviously. Thalkiel's gone. But you get what I'm saying. Something else that makes the rotation a bit more exciting. I've been playing with one hand, with 2 fingers for the last 3 minutes here, talking to y'all like this. I mean, guy, like, come on, man. Yeah, I think it needs something else. I get they want to prune things back a bit. That's really cool. Demonology did have a bit of bloat, I think, right? I think it might have gone like one ability too far. And I don't want the ability they bring back if they bring them back to be like Charhound. I don't want to have to cast Charhound again. I mean, no, like something else cool and thematic. Maybe Thalkiel's Consumption could fill like Grimoire spot, something along those lines. I don't know, but it's just sort of like a bit empty being Shadow Bolt simulator and single target. I'm just gonna go play a Devourer or Demon Hunter at this point. If that's the case. Go play old meta. Why not? There's my Demonology. But yeah. Now, as far as AoE is concerned, it's gonna be hard to leave combat here, but I'll show you guys. Well, okay. Let me backtrack. So the Apex talent here does give you a 3rd dog. It's basically your Undermine tier set, but it's guaranteed whenever you cast Red Stalkers. So whenever you cast them, it's giving you a 3rd dog every time. This dog's basically permanent. He's bugged right now, but he's permanent. He lasts half a minute, all that. He never goes away, basically. So it's your old set. 3rd dog is back. Very cool. Dog also summon Vile Fiend. Very cool. I like the dog theme. Dominion of Argus summons a Soul Keeper. You probably saw him thrash around behind me over there a minute ago. So Demonology has these really cool summons, right? You've got so much thematics and flavor with the spec. You've got Overlord, Mother of Chaos, Pit Lord. You have your new Demonic Oculi, which is your set currently on retail. They added this in too, the eyeball spawn in. You have your third dog. You have Soul Keeper. You have Fire Dog or Purple Dog. You have your baseline Felguard. You have Armor Plated Tyrant. You have Imp Gang bosses. You have a Doomguard that spawns whenever you implode. You have even like I have Gul'dan. You have all these really cool abilities and like demons, but it feels like I'm not summoning any of them. I'm just casting Shadow Bolts at Isaac Gul'dan, and they all just sort of spawn in passively, right? Like once again, I think this is a great change. I love this, but like, I'm not really summoning the Vile Fiend. My dogs are. I'm not really summoning the Overlord or the Mother of Chaos or the Eyes or the Pit Lord. My Hand of Gul'dan or Eye of Gul'dans are. My Shadow Bolts are. I'm not really summoning the Doomguard. He gets summoned whenever I implode. I'm not really summoning. I mean, Tyrant we're summoning too. Tyrant extends everything for a minute and makes it sort of boring in general, right? I mean, Grimoire Felguard's gone. Demonic Strength's gone. Bioscourge Bombers is gone. And it feels like it's sort of empty in a sense. These demons are super cool and visually really appealing. And I like that a lot. They did a really good job at that, but it's like it's going to be a I gotta think of 10 different terrible analogies, but it doesn't feel like I'm summoning them myself. It's like I'm standing next to my character and I'm watching somebody else summoning these really cool demons while I'm just hitting Burning Crusade Shadow Bolt spam again. And that's sort of weird. I don't know how to really combat that. I think they're going to keep the 9 imp cap around again, which is going to be interesting. I don't think, I mean, I feel like a lot of that is from that 9 imp cap. And maybe I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a world you just play Implosion and single target and just fling imps, keep summoning more over and over, and there's your fix to it. I don't really know. I'm not sure how to fix it, but I just feel like thematically, I want another button, something else to do. Consumption, something like that, maybe. Just something, another demon that I'm summoning. I hit the button, like Nether Portal. I hit the button, but like maybe that is an example, I guess, technically, but something that I can hit that feels like demon based, right? And not old Nether Portal, obviously, a better version of it. But either way, something that I can just do. I guess old Nether Portal was still pretty passive, but you get what I'm saying, right? But either way, so if we change to like more of an AoE build here really quickly, because I don't want this video to be super long. Let's pull points from somewhere. I don't know, this thing. Sure, let's grab this. Let's grab what the one I want, this thing, sure. So when it comes to AoE, you do have Siphon and you do have Ancient Imps here. I'm not going to play them. They're probably good somewhere. You also have Demonic Knowledge here. You have a lot of cores if you want, which is very cool, but there's that. Explosive Core causes Demon Bolt to just straight up do splash damage. Cool, whatever, it's fine. Doom, all that is gone. You've got Doomguard. Implosion has a 10% chance to summon a Doomguard that casts Doom Bolt Volley for 10 seconds. Now, Doom Bolt Volley was not working last week. I didn't check if it's working this week, actually. But basically, if you implode with 9 imps being your cap through Hellbent Commander, Imp Mastery, and Hand of Gul'dan, you're going to have 9 imps plus the 10% baseline from Implosion. I think this means baseline Implosion, 10% chance. But either way, you'll have like a 90, at least minimum % chance to summon a Doomguard. So whenever you implode maximum imps, you're basically guaranteed a Doomguard summon, which is very, very cool. And also, him volleying is super sick. So let's say, for example, we're getting into combat here. I'll cast dogs. We'll try and build into a tyrant if I have time. Might lose my dogs. I don't really know. This bar isn't working right. It just despawns a bunch. I don't know. We're probably going to lose dogs. It's fine. I'll just tyrant now. Sure. We'll tyrant with 6. I don't care. We'll do this. We'll hand it Gul'dan. My tyrant's in melee. He's armor plated. Very cool. I'll implode. Doomguard. There he is. Let's see. Volley. Okay, he's still bugged and casting only Shadow Bolts, but that's fine. So we're going to go 3 imps, 6 imps. We're going to build back to 7, 8, essentially 9 here. Cast Hand of Gul'dan. Implode. There's Doomguard. Back again. Cast dogs here. Build to 5 shards again. Hand of Gul'dan. Bolt. Hand of Gul'dan. I need to build a couple shards here. Doomguard expires. Hand of Gul'dan. Implode. Boom. There's your Doomguard. He's basically active for like almost the entire time you're in combat, which is really cool. I like that a lot. He's going to be volleying all the time. Super sick. He's going to expire here. Guess what? I'm going to implode, and he's coming back. There he is. That's super cool. I like that. There's your Soul Keeper from your Apex talent. Thematically, Demonology is super cool. Like, I really, really do like it. Their dog's still bugged. I really like it. And having the Implosion button to hit and summoning the Doomguard is very cool. But it still sort of feels like, well, I'm just summoning. I don't know. You know what I mean? I do think Demo mode AoE feels better than it does in single target, though. I like the Doomguard summons a lot, and honestly, if you've played the core of Demonology's AoE for the last few patches, it's still the same thing. You're just not casting a Valfiend. You're not hitting Demonic Strength, you're not hitting Grimoire if you're playing it, you're not summoning a Valfiend, it's passive. And there's that. Single target, though, I think is probably the biggest focus of all 3 lock specs, is probably Demo single target. And if it goes live like that, honestly, whatever, it's fine. If it, well, maybe not fine. If it's good, you'll play it. I think there's so much potential here. They've done a really good job at trying to build a thematic version of Demonology. There are so many cool demons and imps and all stuff here. I wasn't even talented into the Pit Lord here. I just noticed that. But in the end, it's like I'm a passenger watching all these demons just spawn in while I'm just sitting there looking at them all. I'm not the one doing it anymore. And that feels weird. And I don't know how to fix that with an imp cap being in game and strength going away and Grimoire going away and all that. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's ways to fix it, but it probably revolves around removing an imp cap. And I don't know if there's a way that can actually happen. So we'll see. But either way, if you play Demonology, AoE is similar. And honestly, the single target's similar too. Just think of Eye of Gul'dan as like old hand and Gul'dan. You know, so there's that. If you're a fan of like visual thematics and stuff, you're gonna love Demonology either way. So we'll see where it goes. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it gave you all a decent idea of where Warlock's at currently in Midnight Alpha. I've wanted to make more videos this week, but honestly, man, like Alpha's super sick. I love Alpha. It's super fun, but nobody has an invite right now, really. It's very limited. I sat in the dungeon queue for like over 10 hours on stream. It hasn't popped one time. So hopefully invites next week. If not, beta is like a week and a half away, I think, at this point. I'm pretty sure if you ordered Epic Edition of Midnight, you get in. I think it was like week 1 of beta last time for everybody. Probably the same this time. I don't know. I'm not getting paid to say that, but I mean, I want to play with people. I haven't run a single dungeon with anybody but followers. Like followers in like the Captain Grimtail, like the AI in game. Please give me more friends. But yeah, hopefully I gave you all a good idea where Warlock's currently at. If you guys want any, I don't know, builds, this and that, talent builds, I'd say weak auras or add-ons, but they're all going away. But there's links up here, as well as down below in the description, all that. And like always, a massive thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for all support. Legit. It means so much to me. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing for y'all, making content and all that. Also, heads up, the Midnight Alpha spreadsheet will be going live probably in a week or so on Patreon. We do one every tier, and for Alpha Beta, we do one as well. That's going live in there pretty soon. The tier 3 Fellow Guard Anchor Hire does get early access to that. And yeah, that's that. So it's going to be a busy few months coming up. I'm excited. I legitimately feel like people are hyped to play Warlock. And don't think that because I was harping on Demonology a bit or Deathrush Capstone, it's like, oh, it's terrible. No, every spec can probably use changes somewhere in Alpha. But I mean, I think honestly, for an initial iteration of AF, yo, it looks good. I'm excited. So we'll see where it goes. More feedback coming, obviously, with more builds. Maybe there's a build today, if not tomorrow. And yeah, I'll be covering it for you guys. Thanks for watching. Like and sub. Means the world to me. I'll catch you again soon. Peace.